Perfect.
So I'll do a quick recap. It being the evening of Wednesday, January 25th, quorum being present, the meeting has been called to order. And we will proceed with the first continuation. The Bellingham Conservation Commission will hold public hearings in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Bellingham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, on the notice of intent for the proposal to construct a 44 by 16 garage with an, wait a minute. That's the second one. That's the second one. That's where I got all confused.
Yeah.
You're out of order, Mr. Chairman.
I am on order.
Order.
I take it all back.
You're fired.
Okay, I'm fired.
I beat you to that one, Mike.
The Bellingham Conservation Commission will hold continuations of public hearings in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Bellingham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, on the notice of intent for the proposal to construct a commercial building with associated stormwater management system located within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands at Assessors Map 4, Parcel 72, 455 Hartford Avenue, Bellingham. Mitch Masalanka, Goddard Consulting, Northborough, Mass. Has submitted the filing on behalf of Moshe Matthias, Darren Properties, Madden Avenue, Milford. The continuations will be held via the online Zoom option on Wednesday, January 25th at 7. Okay. Okay, Matt Byrne, BSC peer reviewer is here. Mark Allen, engineer of record is here. And the applicant is here. And Mitch, I guess, will you be making the presentation?
Yep, I'll start things off. I'm Mitch Maslink with Goddard Consulting, representing Moshe Attias, the applicant for the project. Like you mentioned, Moshe is here and Mark Allen from Allen Engineering is here. So we submitted site plans to the Conservation Commission after some peer review rounds and settled some comments that BSC group had. And if I can share my screen, I'll go over some of our major revisions, and then, perhaps Mark, you can go into some of your engineering revisions.
Certainly.
Okay.
Noel, you on that? Yes, you are.
Okay, everyone see this?
We can.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So one of our big plan revisions was in the back of the lot here. We bumped our limit of work outside of a 50-foot buffer zone to this IVW back here. You can see the little grass icons. That's our isolated vegetated wetland. And then this ND line, that's the no disturb 25-foot. And then we have an additional no disturb area out to the 50-foot buffer due to an old certificate of compliance condition that we're adhering to stay outside of the 50-foot buffer zone of this IVW. And then, as we've known before, there's this additional no disturb area in this hatched area and another no disturb area over here. So we've removed work from this area. There used to be parking lot within this 50-foot section, and that's been pushed out of the 50 now. So in order to do that, we had to propose a retaining wall. So now we have this retaining wall back there with the main development over on this side and natural area over here. Additionally, on my part with the wetlands side of things, we added mitigation plantings for our disturbance within the 100-foot. We added the mitigation plantings within the isolated wetland, within the buffer zone to the isolated wetland, and within the bordering vegetated wetlands over here closest to the road, as well in the 25-foot no disturb buffer zone we beefed up. So we have a planting plan down here that shows the plantings in these areas. So I picked these spots because closest to the road, that area has some bare spots where we can add in some plants and create a more robust buffer zone between our stormwater systems over here and in the wetlands here. And there's also space in the wetlands themselves to add in some plants to really create a little robust wetland area here so that it can protect the rest of the wetlands further away from the road. Then over here in the isolated wetland, if you guys have ever been to the site, it's kind of a barren isolated wetland. There's a couple shrubs here and there and some red maples basically at the corners of all these flags. So there's a lot of space to add in plantings in there to create wildlife habitat and really add some protection to the isolated wetland. And just to beef up the buffer zone around it, we added some additional tree and shrub plantings around there as well. So that sums up my wetlands related tasks. Mark, would you want to take away maybe some of your comments that you addressed from the engineering side of things?
Yeah, absolutely, Mitch. Thank you very much. Is it possible that I could share my screen as well?
Yep.
Let's see. Okay. So Mark Allen with Allen Engineering Associates, representing Moshe Ateas, just following up on the comment revisions due to the BSC comments. Most notably, as was indicated, Mitch said that this retaining wall has been shown to retain the soil from being within 50 feet of that isolated vegetated wetland. That wall will need a guardrail. We've extended the guardrail along as such so as to prevent any sort of vehicular or pedestrian falling issues off that backside. One of the other items that came out of the report was the slope along the northerly side. This is a 1.5 to 1 riprap slope. It will need to be designed by a geotechnical engineer. I've noted that on the next set of drawings. I think there'll be one more set of drawings after tonight's hearing. But that 1.5 1 to slope is in this location. Staying on this slide, there was another comment about the ability for the ground to sort of take the amount of surface water that comes into this location. I'm going to scan down to the grading and drainage plan. This head wall is connected to this inlet. So I think one of the comments was through engineering, if we could more accurately show either via spot shot, which is what I tried to do at the last iteration, show more of a defined swale. So in these tiny little numbers that you see here, it definitely shows that the water will collect behind this riprap slope and into that into this area. But I can either add more 1 foot contours off site and simply add a swale to show that that water is going in that direction.
Yeah, Mark, if I may interrupt,
Mhm.
I think it's important to show us what the offsite grading is. Because we really don't, I don't see the numbers offsite, and I know it's difficult to get them when you don't want to go off site to shoot grades, but if there's a way that you can show, you're right on the property line.
Yeah. Yep.
But just to the east of the property line, I see a contour right under design.
Yeah, so that's the 202.
202.
So you'll see a 2016, 2015, 2013. So it's very, very, shallow in there. And then the 201 eventually is over here. So the 201, 2015, 2016, 202. So the definite surface water flow is coming in this direction.
No, this is an overflow.
No, this is just water that comes from offsite onto site. Let me just kind of get a marker
What am I
here.
missing here? Oh, okay. So the head wall 5, head wall number 5.
Head wall number 5.
Yeah,
Head wall-
HW
this is-
5, 201.5.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that's accepting water from offsite.
Yes, yes. So as to mitigate the new development, any water that comes off site onto site, we've collected it in that head wall 5 and just independently discharged it over to our head wall 4.
Okay, Yeah, that wasn't clear to me on the plans, but I can see it now.
Mr.
Yep.
Chair, quick question. Is the 201 where the inlet is, where you're drawing the arrow mark, it comes out at 201 at the outlet?
Yes, yes,
it's going-
very,
What is that length from that blue arrow you just drew to the outlet?
that is approximately about 150 feet,
And it's going down a half an inch,
half a foot.
6
half a
inches.
foot, okay. Is that, what kind of pitches? I mean, is that? That sounds like, looks like a long distance for only 6-inch pitch.
Yeah, it's hydraulically modeled in the HydroCAD that's been peer reviewed as well, so that I don't have those numbers right in front of me. But that is, it does carry the water. It's likely a larger pipe, so it's flat slope, probably determined a little bit larger diameter.
Do
But
we know what the diameter is, Mark?
Let's see if I can get that for you. Let's see here. Before I go diving into the 300-page drainage report, the other engineering question was regarding this this infiltration basin. This is designed to carry all but the majority of the roof, and BSC just indicated that there's about one half of 1 inch of additional storage that needs to be mitigated in the 100-year storm. So I think just by adding 1 or 2 more chambers, we'll be able to take that 1/2 of 1 inch away in the next iteration. So let me see if I can't pan to that drainage report.
Yeah.
Geez, you're making me dizzy, Mark.
No, this is painful. Not only painful, but boring to most of those.
Only 521 pages more to go.
Yeah, really.
Eh, You know what? Yeah.
The size of the.
Sometimes it's down here.
Could it be in the detail sheet?
I think it might be on this drainage schedule.
Hmm.
12-inch, 201 to 201.5.
Okay, so
12
you've got 6
12 inch.
inches, 6 inches of elevation drop in a 6-inch pipe.
12-inch pipe.
12 inch, sorry, 12-inch pipe.
Yep.
Okay, and that's been vetted by BSC.
Yeah, this report has been submitted, yes.
Okay. Okay,
So with that, I think there was one more. I think that BSC deferred to the board, commission, about the. I think it was talked about at the first hearing, the snow storage areas. We kept the snow storage areas in such areas, spots that we feel as if they're going to get into and get treated just like any rainwater event, so that the snow storage would get into the forebays before the infiltration basins, and such, giving that snow the same treatment as water as best we can.
Mr. Chair, quick question.
of course.
Do we find that to actually be an accurate statement that it would infiltrate? My experience is the ground is frozen, you have a pile of snow piled up on top of it, that as that melts off the top, the ground is still frozen below, it's not gonna penetrate down and infiltrate and be treated. It would just flow over the surface to the bottom of the slope in this case, rather than going down into the soil, if that's what's being suggested, until the
Yeah,
ground.
so if it goes into the infiltration chambers, though, that ground is not frozen. If it goes into the open air basins, then yes, it will be collected in such a way that it'll have to wait until it thaws to be infiltrated. But generally, these basins are sand and gravel bottoms, which don't freeze as much as if they had topsoil and subsoil. So as to prevent that temporary situation, but the water can't escape until the ground thaws.
Well, if it flows down the slope where the snow pile, if you go back to the site plan, Mark, be helpful.
Yeah, let me just make sure. Yeah, so area beneath the basin to be stripped of any topsoil and subsoil and to be filled with clean coarse sand. That's the bottom treatment of the basin.
That's not, is that the one with the snow pile? Yeah, you had one that you were showing us, it's had snow piles marked on it.
I think there are 3 snow storage areas, Mike.
Yeah, there's one right there, that's
Yep.
right there to the left,
Yep.
bottom left corner of your, no, bottom left corner
Yep.
on the screen there, yeah.
Yep.
And the one next to it, yeah, so those areas are gonna, in a hypothetical situation, melt
Mhm.
as the grass channel below, downhill from them, right to the left.
Correct.
Is frozen. What's to stop it from continuing to flow down the frozen surface as it freeze thaws before the ground is thawed into the wetlands? I mean, if the ground is frozen and it is piled up high enough, snow and so forth, it's not necessarily gonna flow down the swale, or is that what you're
Mhm.
thinking is somehow gonna flow down the swale?
Well, the two things, one is that Bellingham has that frozen condition in the basin to make sure peak runoff is attenuated, which we have shown. So, in frozen conditions, the basins will function so as to hold back any increase of any volume or flow. Secondly is, yes, that snow storage will, freeze and thaw into the forebay, and that's the reason we did that. It doesn't have any infiltration capacity in that grass channel, only until it gets into the infiltration basins, 1A and 1B, will they actually, the infiltration occur. So even though it may melt, it doesn't need to start to infiltrate until 1A and 1B, which it can't get out of these two basins until it thaws.
That's, yeah, but we're going back to, you still assume that the snow storage piles will melt and flow down into the infiltration basin where they'll hold.
Yes.
And is there, if you could go to your left again, back to the snow pile there. Thanks. Is that, I don't know if you can zoom in a little bit more, but is that railings or guardrails, or what's between, like where it says chambers below 7 spaces, for example? What's that
Yep,
right
so
below that?
There's a little bit of a guardrail in these two locations, but we left them open everywhere else so that the snow can get piled up inside, so they can bring it in this side, bring it in this side, and bring it in that side.
Sure, so, okay, and right below where have the snow piles delineated, the bottom side of those snow piles, that's a downhill slope of what ratio roughly?
3 to 1.
All right, and what is to keep those snow piles, as the snow is pushed and piled, from going right down the hill, tumbling down, if you get a lot of snow, down beyond the channel? Once they're beyond the channel, there's no way that it's gonna flow back uphill, melt and flow back uphill into the grass channel, into the infiltration basin, right down to what the vegetated wetland, BVW.
Oh, okay, so there's another elevation going in this direction. And then an outlet in this direction.
All right,
So,
well, on the shot there, it looks like the channel is fairly narrow, and that might be the dip in it, but then it goes back up slightly.
yeah, so back to the grading plan, it kind of shows you that grass channel is in this location here. This is high, this is high, this is low, and it's going in that direction. And then it goes into a culvert into the first infiltration basin.
204, 205, 204, so it's got about a
Foot and a half.
foot and a half lip.
That's it.
Should be, try to zoom in here.
Like much more.
Yeah, 205.5.
That's-
204 at the bottom.
Yep, and I think this invert is like 20, 3.8 or something to that effect.
Not a whole lot of capacity there, and I think what Mike's getting at is.
Yep.
That, when it comes to snow storage, we've had some bad experiences with, giant piles of snow that,
Yeah, this is no Home Depot.
Well,
yeah, well, that's one of them, but there are others.
one major difference is, Mr. Chair, though, is that we usually require that there be something to catch the snow and keep the snowplow driver or front end loader, if it's that much, from just pushing it and pushing it.
You are right.
They would hit a fence or guardrail. In this case, there's nothing there, and so I don't feel there's any way the applicant is showing in this particular case that at the top of a slope, given that there's a little dip and there is a narrow grass channel there, a couple feet wide, that, but it's a fairly steep slope, and what's the distance from the 20, whatever it's, where it says ETC, right below the snow plans there, that hard line down to the bottom of the bordering gutted wetland border there at 203.
201.9, 202.
No, where it says 203 there, right by the blue circle,
Yep.
to the right of the mouse a little bit more. Right there.
Yeah.
From that line there, roughly up to the top of the where the plowing stops. Up there, the plows roughly, what is that horizontal distance? How
That's
far?
it's probably about 25 to 30 feet.
We got 25 to 30 feet with a, is that 5 foot drop? I can't say the 208, but it says ETC.
2-foot drop. Oh, it's 208. Okay.
That 208 or 203, there's a line going right through the middle.
No, it's 208, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, ETC goes right through that, and I guess that's an 8, Mark, right?
It is, yes, 208. Yep.
So you got 4-foot drop there.
So roughly a 4 to 5 foot drop to the 203, and it's a 20-foot roughly, you said. Yeah, I mean, a horizontal distance. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it seems like there's not anything to keep the piles from shoveling over, and there's not any way to, because we don't have a back fence or something, or a guardrail, to have the snowplow service / owner of property realize they now have to start carting stuff off site because they've exceeded the snow capacity. I mean, the snow storage capacity area, and that's, I believe, going to be a requirement, correct? In the operating conditions, that if they exceed the snowplow capacity, they're expected to take it off site, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
But my point is, how will they know that? Because they could just keep pushing it, it's just going to cut down the hill.
Mhm. So
As
like,
someone who plows snow, I understand that as the snow starts accumulating and the piles get bigger, you push it to spots where it disappears, and that means down the bank. Normally, Mark, what we do is we have some sort of a barrier to prevent exactly that occurrence. And this is a tight site, and there is a lot of impervious material in that small area. So, my estimation is that there's going to be snow removed from the site. I mean, unless we have a winter like this one.
yes. So I'm gonna highlight the guardrails that are part of the design right now. So that these are the guardrails that are in place today. So we don't let the plows flagrantly just dump wherever they want off the side of the curb. We've designated these smaller areas to be those snow storage areas. So
Right, without the guardrails.
Correct.
Continuing through there, but they should.
correct. Yep.
They should go through there because, I mean, and I know with site management, they're just gonna push the snow. I mean, unless you're in there with a loader, and in some cases, we've seen people use loaders to lift it over the guardrail, but.
Right. But and again, I think the overriding intent is just like stormwater gets into this system, and snow is just another form of stormwater. And we want to make sure it gets treated in the same way that stormwater does.
Well, except that, if they're using sand mixed with salt, then it's a direct introduction to the system without any kind of pretreatment, unless massive maintenance is going to be taken every spring.
Well, yeah, so in the cases where those snow piles aren't there, the snow, as it falls and melts, and they're going to treat all of the impervious surface, and all of that's going to get into the catch basins like they do today. So the piles of snow are no different than the treated surfaces elsewhere.
Except the piles that are scraped up with salt, sand, and oils, because in this case, there's a lot of oils potentially, just residual, not that they're pouring oil or anything, but that was commented on the BSC letter too, that garages have a higher contamination, I'm not using the right term there, but a higher level of concern because of all the oil stuff, that stuff's being scraped off, and in those couple of areas of snow storage,
Mhm.
they could get pushed into piles, not get pre-treated as the rest of the impervious areas, which would melt off on the pavement and flow down drain. So it would be because they're
So that's,
quite likely, in my opinion, to go beyond those grass channels. I think it's not realistic to expect that it's just gonna stay at the top of the slope, not go past the channels if piles are pushed far enough or whatever. And then the contaminants, whatever's in those piles, is now beyond treatment and in going into the bordering vegetative wetlands, just right at the bottom of the slope. So.
Yep. So that's where we specifically held these areas for snow storage so that when they do melt and when they do get pushed over the edge, they enter into the area for pre-treatment, not into the areas where it would be a direct discharge to the wetlands. So that was thought out for that exact reason.
Provided the storage capacity is sufficient with frozen ground conditions in the grassy swale to prevent when the bottom is frozen, snow melt to go over the top and into the resource area.
Yep, and that's through your 25-year frozen infiltration basin calculation, which we provided.
But does that account for mounds of snow?
Yeah, so when the snow melts and goes into those frozen basins, the sediments and the oils obviously don't carry over the outfall. They are left in the sediment basins, in the sediment forebays, in the catch basins, and only water through higher elevations get through to the think of it like an oil grit separator. You know, there's the collection happens at the bottom of the infiltration basins and the sediment forebays, and only the liquid water gets to overflow the spillway. So the contaminants that you're asking about, the greases and the salts and the sands, those will all settle out prior to going into the buffer zone of wetlands.
Well, dissolved salt, correct? I mean, if it's a lot of salt tossed up there on the top to keep people from sliding their cars around the corners and stuff, and it's dissolved and melted into the snow and infiltrates in, it's in aqueous form or whatever you call it. It's that's not a great term. It's not a slurry, whatever it's chemical. I forgot my high school chemistry, but the term for when something is dissolved into a liquid, a solid like that.
Solution.
Thank you. The other thing is, Mark, excuse me, could you scroll up to the top of the site here? Where's the third storage area? There's a third storage area somewhere up there, correct? Snow storage, didn't you have a third storage area, Mark? At the top?
Oh yeah,
I can't see it there.
up here.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So again, there's, you marked the fence there, or the fence marking is there, it shows. Comes right to the end there, and then to the left of where it says snow storage, where it says 20.5. What there, is it just the fence, just the guardrail just stopped?
Yeah, it comes back to the building.
Oh, the fence comes back, so they can't get around that, so they're plowing into a corner triangle kind of thing.
Correct. There's a little bit of storage here.
Okay, I don't know much about plowing, Cliff, I defer to you, you've done it. That doesn't look like, I mean, they got dumpsters right there too. I mean, I don't know how they maneuver the snow piles around and turn a corner with a pile of snow. You're coming straight along the back, but anyway, so that's gonna be piled there. There is a guardrail there to stop the plows at some point from falling over the bank and going down the riprap. Why is it that they can't put the same kind of guardrail back on the other two at the back side or the top of the slope where the pile should be stopping, where you've got the little curly line there? And,
I mean,
and
yeah,
just
I
make
mean-
them stop there. I mean, that seems to me would
We,
make
yeah,
us, make me feel better. I don't know about anybody else.
no, that could be added if that's the commission's wishes. Yep. We just need a little bit of an opening to get there, but we could continue that a very short run to these two locations.
Yeah, I think that's going to be appropriate.
more consistent with what we've done elsewhere, where, as I said, we usually have.
It is more
events.
consistent than,
And we do usually mark this, but since you are going to be having it with the guardrails, a couple of like 3-foot or 4-foot high signs, okay, do not dump beyond this point, or no, do not plow beyond this point. So they don't
Yep.
lift it up and over, would be good to have, I think, in those areas.
Sure.
That's again consistent with what we usually, I think, require.
Okay.
okay, so, we spent, most of the hearing on snow storage. We have another hearing. There's a couple of things that I wanted to highlight. And a couple of these, Mark, are planning board issues. And I know that you'll be meeting with them soon. But just to reiterate, the planning board requires 3-to-1 slopes under stormwater systems. And I know that you have 3-to-1 slopes on the sides facing the wetlands. I don't know whether or not that meets the planning board criteria. I leave that to them,
Mhm.
along with the construction of basins above grade. I know that in the past, they've been careful about not allowing basins to be built above grade. And another planning board issue was the fact that they require behind the buildings fire access. We're not dealing with those items, but I wanted to mention them because these are things that you'll have to deal with the planning board. But one of the things I did want to talk about is your square footage. And I was dealing off of, well, I don't know which plan it was now. So I did the calculation. My calculations came up with 15,200 square feet.
Mhm.
And that's what was on the plan. And I was just doing the square area of the rectangles, and then half of the square of the area where that one little the corner piece is. And I did it a couple of times, scaled it out, and I came up with 15,200 square feet. It's on sheet 5. It was on sheet 5. And I don't know where he is. She's 8. Sheet 9. Going the wrong way. Now we're sheet 5.
I think it actually quantified it.
Yeah,
It was-
there it is. Yeah. And so I know that,
There we go. It's right there, 15.2.
yeah, and I measured that and I came up with that, but your response was that it was 14,492. And,
You don't know what the table is.
I don't know where that figure came from.
The parking
Yeah, let me just double check. It may have been an architectural modification. I can definitely circle
Well, you
back.
can
with
do
what-
that.
next
You
meeting.
can do that. We're gonna have to continue,
Yeah,
for a couple of revisions. So if you would
Yep.
just address that, because I don't want to belabor these points, but
Yep.
these are a couple of things that we're, I know that we're waiting for you to respond to the peer review, but as always, Mark, peer reviewer has their comments, we have ours. So I'm
Yep.
just trying to give you in a public forum, the concerns we have. And, we're going to ask for forbearance for the next hearing.
Mhm.
You talked about the water service. You're going to have to reach out to the DPW. Have you done that yet?
we have not. No, we're going to talk to the planning board tomorrow night, kind of collect their thoughts and
Okay.
make one, collective revision after tonight, tomorrow night,
Yep.
and
Perfect.
other town agencies.
Okay, in addition to the frozen ground conditions and retainage 25-year storm event, there's a freeboard of a
Yes.
foot for the 100-year storm.
Mhm.
Okay, and there was something else I had. Okay, standard 5, higher pollutant loads. I think that was the extra stuff that I had. I did have a comment for Mitch on the fact that he's proposing to actually do plantings within an regulated resource area. And I want to have to go out there. I would like to schedule a visit with Mitch and our peer reviewer and the commission to take a look at the areas and make sure they're appropriate and that those plantings can be done without, alteration. I know that in the area to the west of the site, right where the arrow is almost, much of that area had been cleared, so it's probably appropriate. But when we're working in the BVW, we want to make sure that there's no alteration there. And I saw that the peer reviewer did have a comment relative to the woolly edgelid and hemlocks. And we have one hemlock on our property, completely isolated. I haven't seen one within half a mile of it, and they found it. So I don't know how they do that,
Mhm.
but we're gonna ask Mitch to kind of see if he could find something maybe a little,
That's it.
yeah, that's the one. And I think I'm so sorry to just kind of dump all of this on you. But like, again, I said, we do have another hearing. And this is really, Mark, Mitch, this is really the first time that we've had a chance to sit down and digest some of the information that you have.
Yep.
And so, are there any other comments from the commission on this?
I have one, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
I'm just concerned about the the proximity of constructing that wall, the retaining wall, all the way along the edge of the no disturb. We've had recent incidents where they build a wall in similar to that in close proximity to a line,
Mhm.
and we're always assured that the construction will not go over the line to put the wall in, but
Until
it always does.
Mhm.
So I want to make sure that there's enough space left between the base of the wall and the line for construction to occur without crossing over and causing alteration beyond that line.
Yeah, so what I did through the chair is I've actually set, I know that comment has come up in the past with other projects.
Yep.
So I did set that wall, the base of the wall, a few feet beyond that line. And I think you've conditioned projects in the past to have that line staked out, have the hay bales installed and erosion control barriers installed, reviewed, inspected, and you to either make a witness site visit to make sure everything's in place prior to any wall construction. So we did anticipate that comment based on prior projects in town.
Very good, thank you.
And it'll be constructed obviously from the upslope side.
Yes.
I have just one more observation, and I forgot to tell you, but Mark, if you'll move to the eastern side of the site, right where the infiltrators are. Okay, now, yeah, keep going. Okay, so you have this this storage chamber
Mhm.
for in-ground, for in-shop it's some sort of a wash down chamber. If you could just move it down a tad more. Oh, the other way. Yeah.
What is it?
Okay. Floor drain holding tank.
Oh,
It's a 5,000 gallon tank, double walled with leak detection. I didn't find any details on that. I didn't. If they're
Okay.
there, tell me and I'll look again.
Okay.
I didn't see them. Our concern is we don't want the thing to be, I don't know how tall it's going to be, how deep it's going to be.
Mhm.
And I don't want to see that in groundwater. So,
Yeah, if I don't have a detail for it, I can absolutely put one
thank you.
together for you.
I thought it was just an oversight, but something we want to take a peek at.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Mitch, Mark, do you think that you'll be ready to answer some of the questions and we can continue the discussion? Well, we have 6 things on for the 8th. So you're going to respond in writing. It seems like you have a good handle on what the peer reviewer is asking.
Mhm.
then we can take a peek at your responses and see if there's anything else. I'm not sure when we can get out there, Mitch, but like I said, we want to go out there and take a peek at what you've proposed. And find a time when there's not snow. If we get, we've had 4 or 5 site visits so far this winter, which is amazing. It's gonna kind of be, we'll give you as much lead time as we can, but it's going to be based on the weather. We don't want to have to wait until March or April if we can help it. So if there are no
Mr.
further
Chair,
questions.
would the purpose of those to be looking at the areas they want to do the plantings and just that, or is anything else?
Well, I think it might be helpful if they stake out the closest areas of impact in grading, but I think the primary purpose of the visit would be to look at the enhancement areas to make sure that there's going to be no damage occurring to within the isolated vegetated wetland or the 25-foot no disturb zone if it can be done without alterations. That's pretty much the purpose of that.
That sounds good. My suggestion would be to expedite the site visit for both us and the applicant, that if they can put a few flags like they do for markings, maybe not something pink or yellow or whatever that's already out there, but just in the general area where they're going to be doing the plantings, we could zero in on them more quickly too. That wouldn't impact the wetlands by just walking in there and hanging a couple flags. You don't have to do stakes or heavy duty stuff, but there should be something around they can hang something on, so we have an idea visually as we approach the area too.
Mhm.
Mitch, are the flags for the isolated vegetated wetland in the BVW still in place? Do you know?
Yeah, they should be in pretty good condition.
Okay.
I hung them pretty recently before the notice of intent was filed, so it's
Okay.
been, a couple months.
And is the 25-foot no disturb zone marked in the field? Do you recall?
It is not, no.
If we can find the area where you might be accessing the isolated vegetated wetland and maybe mark that off, or we bring a tape and we tape it off if the flags are there,
Mhm.
as long as we've got some kind of point of reference. I
Mhm.
think Mike, like the commission is suggesting that we just want to make sure that, the proposed plantings can take place with a minimum of alteration to the 25 to 50 and the 0 to 25. Is that right, Mike?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, whenever you guys want, set it up and I'll meet you out there. We'll have some flags poked in the ground and when I show you the area, you'll see there's some space there for these plantings, and we can either have Moshe have a contractor come out with me and do the plantings together, or if Moshe wants, he can have my crew go out and do it. We have some kids go out there and dig with us and just put the plants in. A pretty minimal tread within the wetlands, and we've been in some sensitive areas before with that crew, so they're pretty well experienced with keeping care for native plantings already there in the ground. So, but yeah, I look forward to the site visit when you guys get a chance.
Perfect. And obviously the work will take place under your or someone credentialed like yourself's supervision. So we'll all be happy with that.
Great. Yep.
Okay. That being the case, I'll entertain a motion to continue the hearing to 7 o'clock on the evening of February 22nd. And to conduct a site inspection as conditions allow.
So moved.
Michael,
Second.
Brian, is there any further discussion? I will call, there's a number of folks here. I will call for my roll call. Ariane,
Aye.
Noel,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Neil.
Aye.
That's a unanimous vote. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
We'll see you hopefully soon in the field.
Yes.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Okay.
It's good to see you all.
Hi, Matt.
So briefly.
So, yeah, we'll let you know when we can put something together.
Yep.
We'd like to have your opinion as well. If recollection is correct, the area is pretty much open. If the work's gonna be done by hand, and we're not gonna disturb the herbaceous vegetation, it's probably gonna be advantageous, but, eyes on.
Exactly. And I think, thinking about some plants that are going to be more resilient for 30 to 50 years down the road is probably smart.
Mhm.
I won't be there to see it, but someone will.
I may not either. So,
Okay,
Yeah. Okay.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Matt.
You're welcome. Take care.
Okay. I see Steve is here. I anticipate that he's here for the Cutler Street project. I'm going to thank the applicant's representative for allowing us a little extra time to work through a couple of issues at 4:55. And the Bellingham Conservation Commission will hold public hearings in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Bellingham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, and the notice of intent for the proposal to construct a 44 by 16 foot garage with an in-law apartment and to install a 1,000-gallon septic tank with a 4-inch PVC to connect to the existing D-box located in the 100-foot buffer zone. The bordering vegetated wetlands. The property is located at Assessor's Map 9, parcel 10510 Cutler Street, Bellingham. Paul D. Simone, Colonial Engineering, Midway, Mass. has submitted the filing on behalf of Jody Willis, Cutler Street, Bellingham. The hearings will be held online via the Zoom option on Wednesday, January 25th at 7:30. I'll make that 7:45. Okay.
Good evening, board members.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hello. Just to add to all that, it's a single family home. It's been there for many years. The owner wants to add an accessory structure to it. Like you mentioned, would want to tie that structure into the existing septic system, which was over designed. We had designed this thing back in 2015 and went through the board and went in front of the Board of Health. So it's fairly recent system. We were proposing 3-to-1 grading. The areas that'll be impacted, nothing between the 0 and 25-foot buffer. 517 square feet from the 25-foot to the 50-foot buffer, and 2,051 square feet from the 50 to the 100-foot buffer. Only a small portion of the rear corner of the structure that's proposed is within that 25 to 50. The bulk of the work is the 50 to the 100.
Mr. Chair, do you want me to share?
I was going to ask,
I got it
Steve.
right here if you want it.
Steve, you're on a phone, so
Yeah.
can you see the proceedings on your phone?
I can just, I saw the last one with what he was showing, but I can see you.
Okay,
Okay, that's
so
good.
here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna
Okay.
have Mike pull up those plans for us.
But we want
Excellent.
new plans.
We want the new plans.
I think these are them. What's the date on?
23.
December 9th, 2022. Is that the one?
I'm looking, hang on a second. Let me just scroll over.
No, that's the original.
No.
That's the old one.
Is the other one? Okay, a second.
That's the old one.
Should say proposed structure, plan of land.
Proposed addition plan?
That's it.
All right,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got to turn it. Hang on a second.
Yep.
And we'll zoom in a little bit here.
Plan is not so good. Hmm.
Oh, there.
I think if you just enlarge it. we'll be
Yeah, that's
all
what I'm
right.
doing.
Hey, you got it.
Okay.
There you
So
go.
Tell me what parking lot, see that good?
That's
or-
good, right
Yeah.
there. Okay, so what happens here is, it's a red line. Now, we looked up the filing we had in 2015 for this lot,
Correct.
and it's a 1,500 gallon tank.
The existing tank is 1,500 gallons, correct?
Right, okay, yeah, and
And
it's
that's-
for a 3-bedroom
and
house,
that's-
a 3-bedroom home.
Right, and the home has only 2 existing bedrooms in the structure.
Well, I guess what happened was there was a bedroom downstairs. Now, Steve, it's being assessed as a 3-bedroom home, and the system was designed as a 3-bedroom home, right?
Yes, it was over designed for 3-bedroom.
Okay.
It was our understanding it was classified as 2-bedroom during the process. When it was
Okay.
previously approved.
Okay, so it was built based on the 15 filing, which was for 3 bedrooms. So it's a 1,500 gallon. And now you're proposing an addition, and that's going to be 1 or 2 bedrooms.
It would be restricted to 1 bedroom. If not, the system would have to be expanded.
The leach field.
Correct.
Okay, so the 1,000 gallon tank is going to tie directly into the D box. So you'll have 2 tanks distributing the water out to the leach field, and the leach field is sufficient for 4 bedrooms.
To be honest with you, I don't have the previous Board of Health plan with me. I was not prepared for that.
We can put it up. We have it.
Okay.
If Mike, you would put the old plan up. The
Okay, one sec.
older
Yeah.
plan, it's not that old.
Yeah, so the top right corner of that plan, if you zoom in on that, it should tell us what.
Yeah, we just want to make sure, because you know what happens, Steve, people will get in. And, and we don't have a problem with in-law apartments. We just want to make sure that the wastewater is properly treated. That's all.
I can appreciate that. I mean, it's,
So there's the trenches.
but there's up in the right-hand corner would give you the calculations. It would tell you the 4 bedrooms times 110 gallons all the way up.
Yeah, I think it's 3
3
bedrooms
bedrooms
at
at
110. There it is.
That's it.
Okay.
I can't read it, so
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll read it. I'll read it to you.
I'll take your word for it.
Okay. So the bed is 20 by 25 feet by 1/2 inch bed with perforated Schedule 40 pipe. Design capacity for 330 gallons per day divided by 0.66.
Living resident, is that, what does LR stand for? Living resident? 2/3 of a person?
I don't know.
As a millennial foot, I didn't hear the question. I'm sorry.
No, I think that's what that is.
Oh, okay.
So the bottom line is, our question, Steve, is that leaching field will accommodate the extra bedroom.
That system is designed at 330 gallons. Each bedroom is 110 gallon design. So that would be equivalent to a 3-bedroom design.
So the leaching field is designed for 3 bedrooms, and the property is listed in the assessors for 3 bedrooms, and they're adding a 4th bedroom. So the question is, there's 2 bedrooms currently in the house, but if somebody moves in and puts a bedroom downstairs, then we have 4 bedrooms, and the leaching field is going to be undersized. Is that right?
Technically, yeah, if you add an extra bedroom, I mean, you can have 10 bedrooms in a house, but if you only have 2 people, obviously you're not getting the use out of it. I mean, that's one point. but if that was the case, yeah, I mean, it would shorten the life of the system over the years. And then, if they would do that, they would be actually, incurring costs, sooner than a normal system.
Okay, well, we're getting more answers now than we did from the health agent.
I mean, I spoke with Paul because I wanted to walk into this and be up on it. And his understanding was a 2-bedroom. He even put the note there on the elevations, existing system designed for 3 beds and only 2 in existing structure. So I don't know if him and Bruce Wilson are on the same page with that. And I mean, they have their classifications, how they, every town's different on, so they have room counts. Usually if it has a closet and it's a bedroom, I mean, any structure, I guess you could add another bedroom, no matter where you live, got rid of a study. I mean, that's always plausible. So I can only go by what I was informed of, that it's a 2-bedroom existing structure. The system was over-designed. And it should handle 1 additional bedroom.
All right, so Steve, here's what we're gonna do. I think that Bruce is gonna look for a floor plan. And I'm gonna
Okay.
ask, because I know that our administrator talked to the health agent, when this thing was first filed, and our answers were not clearly addressed. So we're making progress here tonight. I'm gonna ask her to talk to him again and make sure. Steve, what we don't want is, we don't want someone to sell the house. They got an in-law apartment. They're gonna have 3 bedrooms and a bedroom in the in-law apartment. They'll have 4 bedrooms and the system fails in 2 years. We don't want to have that happen. That's all.
No, we don't like when that happens either.
No, it doesn't help anybody.
So, no,
here's what-
I mean, an ounce of caution is worth a pound of cure, I guess.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you see it that way. Now, here's what we're gonna do.
I have to look at the wetland line too.
If the commission's okay with it, the administrator and myself will go out and take a peek at the wetland line. I think we did it not that long ago, but we'll take a peek at it again. And if you guys are okay with it,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
I have a quick question. There's a hut shown on this plan within the 25-foot zone that is not on the other plan you were just showing, the original plan that showed a garage and a shed.
It doesn't even look like it's on the lot.
Well, it looks like it's half on the lot.
Hut. Oh, yeah, all right.
And on the original plan, there was a garage and a shed, but no hut. And certainly not in that location. So when you're out there looking at the wetland line, I don't know if you could have a look at
We'll look at
the hut.
We'll look at the
and,
hut.
Whether that was a permitted structure,
Okay, we'll take a look at that.
whether it is a structure.
I addressed that with Paul earlier today, and it looks like somebody threw something together. I kept questioning whether it was a shed, and he's like, well, I wouldn't really call it a shed. So I don't think it's much of a thing, but it is there. That's why we put it on the plan.
Well, it must be new. But Ian and I will take a peek at that. And we're gonna meet, hopefully, we can get this all resolved so that we can, wrap up the hearing at our next meeting.
Others can go look at it too at their own.
Or, yeah, that's a good point. That's pretty close to where you live, Neil. People are free to go do it at their own, on their own time, at their will.
It's okay.
So if there's any other,
I would like to confirm with Paul that there's still some flags there. I mean, this was taken from the recent plan from the last filing. So if not, I'd like to send my crew out there to rehang those flags where they originally were.
Yeah, let's, yeah, before we go out, please, let's make sure the flags are still there.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, then, Steve, let Ian know.
Excuse me?
Or have Paul let Ian know.
Yeah.
Okay, sure thing, no problem.
Okay.
You got the DEP number we send you in and
Yes,
the
we do.
copy of the green cards?
Yes, we do. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I need to ask for continuance.
Please.
Yes.
Could you please continue this meeting?
Sure. I'll entertain a motion to continue the hearing to the evening of February 8th at 8:30.
So moved.
Second.
Marianne, Mike, a lot of folks have left. I think I can determine the vote. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's a unanimous vote. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll be in touch with Bruce Wilson tomorrow, and we'll definitely check, make sure those flags are still there.
Okay,
Thank you. That'd be
Thanks,
great.
Steve.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
good.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
You're welcome.
So I was contacted by Mr. DeMartinez of the Board of Select Board relative to a new committee that's being formed. I don't know if the commission's aware of the new regulation coming down from the State House relative to host communities for MBTA stations. Okay, so our vice chair is aware of it. There are housing requirements now if you're a host community for the MBTA. But they've taken it a step further.
How is Bellingham a host community?
They've taken it a step further, and we are an abutting community.
Aha.
So the requirement as a budding community is that we have to identify a 50-acre parcel and prepare for 700 houses.
Medway's in
Why?
there too.
Does a private developer make them?
To me, it's
Well, we better hope the MBTA doesn't make them,
they'll be orange in color.
They are
and they won't work.
Unbelievable amount of.
Hey,
They're
the
requiring
selectmen
an
won't let us get
unbelievable
railroaded
amount of
into doing
houses.
that, Neil, don't worry.
And I'm
Did you
going to
say seven?
editorialize. This has
How are you
nothing
going
to
to get
do with.
700 houses on 50 acres, Mr. Chairman?
It seems to me that in order to solve the housing crunch, the State House has decided that the cities have done their part, and that the people who are benefiting by living in the suburbs and community on the MBTA have to share some of the burden of
Like
housing.
Mike.
So that's okay, but here's the thing, the select board is putting together a group. And I have volunteered to be a member. If anyone wants to do this instead of me, let me know right now.
Just curious, Mr. Chair, do you happen to know how big the recycling center acreage is? As a possible housing?
Hey,
Well,
whoa, whoa now. Come on.
it's got photo cells on it.
All
That's
around it, I
where,
mean, there's a
that's
lot
where
of
we should
land
put the
around that.
animal shelter.
So look, I'll keep you posted. I guess someone from planning, someone from zoning, someone from the select board, town administrator, and Jim Cuffer are all going to be participating. And we're going to see if we can figure out a way to meet the criteria, which at this stage of the game is to identify a parcel and have a plan to move forward. So
Does it have to be like a public, like a parcel that the town already owns?
No,
Or can it?
no, It could be,
No, just a parcel.
All those
A
mill
parcel.
tenements over on the northeast side, we can just keep one. Cause like the whole point of a mill tenement is that
how about the
it's
how about the White Cedar Swamp behind where you live?
No, that's not a good.
I was just thinking about that.
Oh, what about
Well,
151 North Main Street?
We do this because of.
So. We don't know.
And this is because we're in a budding town, huh? We don't have any say.
A budding
no-
town. I don't,
No ifs, ands, or buts. I would say we should protest. I mean, maybe, have the selectmen or anybody appealed this?
right, so, yeah, so the club they're using, the administrator is correct. The club that's being used is that if we don't identify land and come up with a plan, they will forego any state grants to that community.
But
So,
Blackmail.
well, you know, it's government.
I'm guessing it has to be near the train station.
You know what? My first comment when I saw this a year ago was we got Curtis Apartments. And that's walking distance to the train station.
Yeah.
But apparently we have to investigate. It's a fluid situation. The criteria's changed a little bit. So that's why this committee is gonna meet, try to determine. But
The original guidelines from the state did have it clustered around MBTA station.
Half a
MBTA
mile.
stations.
That
Yes.
is correct.
half a mile.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then they realized there's no 50-acre parcel anywhere within a half mile of an MBTA station.
No.
Yeah, because like
Communities, I have heard some communities, like maybe Medway, for example, is thinking about doing this 50-acre in pieces, parcels all over the town.
But
So
that's allowable.
it is allowable. I just,
So.
how
How
do
about a
you
brownfield?
impact the community spirit of the town,
Well,
50 1-acre parcels.
you know?
so, Mr. Chair, quick question. Is that 700 houses or 700 residences? In other words, it could be apartments.
Single family dwellings.
Is that also considered a 1-bedroom apartment, for example, or 2-bedroom apartment? Is that a single family dwelling?
I
Not
We
in
do
an
not-
apartment building, right?
We do not have the answer to that.
will be getting more information.
Well,
I think a condo might qualify, but I don't know that an apartment would. I don't know.
Okay, so it literally, as Neil questioned, how can you fit 700 single-family residences in 50 acres? That's one, I did the math real quick in my head, but that's pretty way under the zoning for the current town, right?
So are
it's
40
like
Bs.
medium density.
No, I don't mean,
housing.
I mean from building codes and everything
Well,
else, like.
that means
building
each-
Fire codes.
Each building would be on a lot that would be just over 3,100 square feet.
There you go.
That's it.
There you go.
High density housing.
Oh, very high.
So,
But
You
you have to
know-
have setbacks there between each of the houses.
Mike,
I don't know what kind of
Crazy.
build a structure other than maybe a hut
Hey,
that you could construct on a
There we
3,100.
go.
hot.
when you go out to Cutler Street, please take some pictures. That could be our prototype.
Most of the houses they're building now are 3,000 square feet.
Well, that's
Or
true.
more.
That's true.
Build
But
a
see,
skyscraper.
they're trying to do away with suburbia and have suburbia carry the load for housing because housing's necessary in Massachusetts. And people are fleeing Massachusetts because of the cost of living here. And
That's for sure.
I'm just telling you the politics of it.
Good,
But that's why
less
we want to
traffic.
be represented on this committee. But Mike, if you want to do it, you let me know.
I'd have to know what the time involvement is. Do they have any sense when the first meeting's gonna happen?
I'll tag team with you.
Yeah, maybe.
You go to the meetings and I'll come up with ideas.
Wait a minute.
I
What is
can't
the
do it.
tag
I
of
don't live in town.
All right, I'll keep
give
you
me the-
posted.
send-
I
send
told
me
them that I
info.
would represent the commission, but that doesn't mean that more members can't go, can't listen, can't come up with ideas. So
Yeah, let us know.
Can I get a vote
details.
real quick from the commission? No to HOAs? All
HOA,
in favor?
Homeowners association.
HOAs and not HOAs.
homeowners association,
Yeah.
So what's the question?
Aye.
What, wait a minute, what's the question?
So can I get a vote from the commission on an opinion about HOAs for that new 50-acre
Oh,
parcel?
homeowners association. Well, Ariane, I don't know that we're that close yet. We're gonna come up with
Nay.
strategies.
Hey,
Aye, yeah,
don't be a naysayer, Ariana, come on.
okay, so.
Alright.
I just wanted to give you guys an update on that, let you know what's going on. But that's all we have, so
Mr. Chairman, I have a quick question.
sure.
What's the name of the administrator for the Board of Selectmen? The select board, rather?
Let's see.
Hillary.
It's Hillary Allaire.
Hillary Allaire.
Thank you.
Alley.
I need to look through I just realized I need to look through my email for something.
Okay.
If
Oh,
you need something, contact me because I think I might have
we
it.
don't want that be missed, Mr. Stanley.
I think I was copied on that, Neil.
I found it, Mrs. Matthews. Thank
Okay,
you.
wonderful, good.
Okay,
So nothing to sign?
no, nothing to sign, but we may have something coming down the pipe,
Very near future.
okay?
And next meeting, do you think we're gonna bring up, Ms. Matthews, the information you sent me about the Blackstone Street change in applicants and design and plan and 36 townhomes?
That will be at our next
Next
meeting,
meeting, okay,
the
good.
opening
All right.
hearing. Yep.
Thanks.
Who's the developer on that? Do you know?
Somebody-
John Mushin Raven Homes.
News to us,
Yeah.
you know, from our,
Interesting, after all the effort we put into those 4 lots.
you
I
got it,
know,
you
it's
got it.
true, it's
It's true. So now what they did is they just combined those 4 lots and they're putting in
12 3-unit dwellings.
12 3-unit dwellings.
700 units.
There you go. No. All right.
All right,
Thanks, Neil. I'm gonna have nightmares.
motion to adjourn?
Okay,
On that positive
second,
note?
So moved. Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tina.
Have a good night.
Everybody.
We'll be in touch.
Aye.
Okay.